It's Radio Saorsa. So the Scottish elections are over, and Nicola Sturgeon has secured her place as First Minister and nominal leader of the independence movement for the next 5 years. Many listening will no doubt think that this makes me bitter. After all, I was on the losing side. I supported the idea of a supermajority for independence, a chance to change the dynamics of parliamentary democracy in our country and put something to the British government it couldn't possibly ignore. But I'm not bitter. Far from it. Like all Democrats, I accept the outcome of the vote and laud the reality that the sovereign people of Scotland have spoken. And their voice is still a solidly pro-independence voice. No matter who we are or where we stand in the spectrum of independence politics, this should at least give us some hope. Independence is still inevitable. But the outcome of this election changes nothing. Gradualism remains the prevailing opinion of the Scots electorate, the same laboured thinking that has us accepting Westminster's indifference and intransigence, and living in exhausting hope that tomorrow London will give us a different answer. Aye, best of luck with that. The reality is that nothing has changed. We are right at the same place where we were before the election. But that's politics. I support Nicola Sturgeon as First Minister. She is the leader Scotland has chosen, but it's no secret that I don't support Sturgeon as a person. Her approach to leadership is single party in national government and single party in the independence movement, a thoroughly undemocratic mode of politics, something so many in our movement fail to appreciate. This may have been acceptable, tolerable, had the campaign been a quick one after 2014, but this has turned into a decadal saga. Years without real opposition and years without diversity in the movement with adequate political representation. The smart already see how problematic this situation is. Now that the election is over and that Scotland has made its choice, we have 5 years ahead of us. 5 years of the same style of gradualism that brought us to this impasse, a place at which the Irish press has recognised is no closer to independence than we were before. 5 more years of movement constipation, 5 more years of inertia from the top, but this does not mean that the movement is not eager for movement. And the signs are there. Kenmure Street in Glasgow displayed the explosive desire for an active response to British fascism, and all it needs, something best said in a whisper, is leadership. We saw this when the SNP walked out of Westminster. Support for the National Party surged. It surged when the SNP promised that we would not be taken out of Europe against our will. Scottish people, independence supporters, respond to action. They respond to militancy. But this is precisely what they are not being given. They are asking for bread and being given a stone instead, a millstone. In this election, we voted for another 5 years of gradualism, the kind of independence thinking that suits the middle class. People who can afford to wait and put on ice, that want for a better future for our children and our grandchildren. But this does not suit those of us who cannot afford to wait, those of us who are suffering under the crushing pressure of austerity Britain, an aggressive brand of class war, which strangely suits the current leadership of the Scottish National Party, people who want to see a middle-class independence for the Scottish middle class. This is not my approach to independence. My approach, and the approach of many others, is acceleration. We want to accelerate the hell out of this. What we want to do is to expose the contradictions of polite middle-class independence, expose the contradictions of British rule in Scotland, and expose the contradiction of the Scottish Government's present accommodation to this, its natural collaborationism. This is what's intolerable to me and to many, and it is for this that we are being harried and attacked, because we will not toe the line and settle down. But we did not get involved in the politics of independence to be slow about it. Independence is necessary because it is needed now. So what's the plan? Whether she admits it or not, Sturgeon's plan, either by accident or by design, is to change nothing for the next 5 years. Nothing can change. The Union was safe under the old paradigm, simply ignoring the Scottish Government and by saying no. And this is what will continue. What is the definition of madness? Doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different outcome. Aye, this is bonkers. 5 more years of the same. But this does not mean that this has to be our plan. No. We can do something different. So we can have our own 5-year plan, a plan of action. We have gotten used to the idea of giving Britain no peace. And what we have to do now is get used to the idea of giving the Scottish Government no peace. This is, after all, our government. Perhaps they don't always respect our class interests. Perhaps they don't represent them. And their idea of independence and who it will benefit is certainly not always the same as our idea of independence. But this doesn't mean that we cannot use them, work with them, and put the right amount of pressure on them to do what we want. We want independence yesterday. We want it well within the next 5 years, and we can achieve this by exercising other political ideas. For now, the supermajority is on hold, but we still have our feet, and that supermajority can make itself felt on the streets. And the good people of Kenmure Street in Glasgow have already shown us how to do this. This is the beginning of 5 years of activity, hyper-activity. We tried the marches and the rallies. They were marvellous. They raised our consciousness and our expectations, but they never got the same cheers that the residents of Kenmure Street got the minute the doors of that Home Office van were opened. That, friends, is the power of direct action. I have always clung to my belief that the nation that cannot be governed cannot be ruled. And this has been demonstrated to us. So let's do it. Let's put this flavour of democracy out onto the streets of Scotland. Let's get our flags out. Let them know who we are and what we stand for. Let's make life in Scotland impossible for the British state. Let's not behave ourselves. Let's be that mob, or what they like to call a mob. A democratic movement of people on the move. People who know what they want and who know when they want it. And people who are not prepared to get off of the street until those doors are open. I'll confess to feeling like giving up in the past few weeks. I have been disheartened and exhausted. But I never got involved in any of this for nothing, and I'm sure as feck I won't be accepting nothing. It is time to do something. It is time we resolve to make this term of government the last Scottish government in a devolved British Parliament in Edinburgh. Let's be determined to ensure our country's independence before the end of this 5-year term. No more no's will be acceptable. Thanks for listening, and remember to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button to stay informed, and I'll see you next time.